Yogis, I'm Laura. Welcome to our practice to work on the third Niyama, Tapas, which is a practice of cultivating self-discipline and using challenge to create an internal fire. That fire is where our transformation starts. Our practice is going to begin with some core work. We'll start down on the back, stretch your arms up over your head, stretch your legs long. And then start by drawing the right knee in toward the chest, lift your head toward your knee, and then extend the arms and legs out. Same thing with the left knee, right in toward the chest, lift your head, stretch the arms and legs long. Now this time, right leg is going to come straight up, lift your head, lift your arms, so it's a half boat. Holding that, but keeping your breath moving. As you release down, stretch your arms up overhead. We'll take that onto the left side. Lift the left leg up from the hip. Keep it long. Stretch your toes out. Your head and your arms come up. You're holding the posture, but your breath is moving. Release down. Stretch the body long. And then this time we'll take both legs. Now, if this is too strenuous for you, you can alternate legs. We come into this low version of boat. Keeping length through the legs and drawing the belly button down toward the spine. As you release, bend your knees in toward your chest, arms up overhead. And then we'll come up toward a sitting position. Just rock yourself up and find balance on your sitting bones. We'll come into the seated version of boat, the higher version of boat. Knees come back towards your chest. Find a lift from your lower back. And we're going to add in alternating taps with the feet. Tap the right foot to the floor. Tap the left foot. Just bending from the knee. Little tap. Trying to keep everything else still. Keep the lift in your chest as your legs alternate. With control, start to lower yourself down to that longer version of boat. And rise back up onto the sitting bones. Extend the body out. This is a nice challenge for the core. Trying to control this movement, keep it slow. Inhale, lift up. Slow exhale, extend the legs out. Stretch the arms long. Inhale, lifting up. Right onto the bottom of the pelvis. And then this time you can drop your feet down, cross your legs. We'll roll right over. You can either sweep your legs off to the side or roll straight over your legs. Come into hero pose. Let your head drop down. Bring your arms back by the sides of the body. We'll come into child's pose. Adding our core work here, we're going to lift ourselves up. Bring your fists onto the mat on either side. Drawing the hips and the knees up from the mat. So initially, when you're doing this version, you can keep the tops of the feet, the tops of the toes on the mat for support, and you're just drawing up. Then try to test your strength. See if you can take one foot and then the other foot up off the mat. Sometimes we call this movement a version of rabbit pose or jackrabbit. Eventually being strong enough to lift both feet and come into a pendulum. But that is a great movement to start to cultivate strength in the lower abdominal area. Give yourself a breath in child's pose, and then we'll come up and find table. And we begin to bow the head down to the earth and then press back up. Movement of being humble. Exhale, elbows stay tight to the sides. Bow down. Inhale, press into the palms to come back up to table. And if any part of that is uncomfortable on the wrists, you can always go up on fists. Let's add the leg to that. Take your right leg, extend it back, hinging down as you exhale. The foot rises behind you. Inhale, press up. So here we're starting to feel that fire, that burn in the arms, working on the back of the arms, the triceps. Exhale, lowering down, bending from the elbow. Keep the arms tight to the sides. Let the foot rise up behind you. Inhale, press up into neutral. Keep the back leg really long the whole time that you're doing this movement. And then let's switch sides. We'll drop the right knee down, sway your hips. Left leg extends back, and then just go right into that bowing movement. Exhale, elbows straight back. You're watching the forearms. You want the forearms to be parallel when they hit the floor. And try to keep your pelvis stable so that your left hip doesn't start to float up. We want to square the pelvis to the floor. Keeping your breath strong as you go through this movement. A big part of building up our fire, our Agni in our belly, is using strong breath, giving oxygen to our internal fire. Let your left leg drop down. Come back into child's pose. As you come up, sit in hero pose, swing the arms behind you for yoga mudra. Lift your gaze up toward the sky. Opening up the arms after that work. Gently twist yourself to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, a little twist to the left. And as you come back into the middle, we'll bring the hands down to the mat and then lift up into into table from child's pose. Taking your right leg back and your left arm forward, we start in a balancing table. Then we're going to add that core work by tapping the elbow and the knee. Inhale, stretch the body out. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, strong. Exhale, contract. You can pick up the pace a little bit faster if you feel comfortable with that. Make the breath stronger. And then switching sides. Drop your right leg down. Take left leg and right arm up. Balancing table. Then going right into that strong exhale and contract. Elbow to knee. Exhale. Drawing the belly button into the spine every time you breathe out. And it's a nice spot where you can add an open mouth ha breath. That's going to give even more strength. Working on your internal fire. Dropping that side down, coming back through table. We'll walk the hands toward the top of your mat. Give yourself some space and just shift the hips forward into a low plank. And we'll take what's called a chaturanga tune-up. This would be a knee-down version of chaturanga tune-up. So we bend the elbows, we come halfway down, we press back up. Halfway down, arms parallel to the rib cage, and press back up. So you probably are feeling the triceps by now. There's a nice fiery burn in that area because we've given a lot of attention to those muscles, but we tend to be weak there, so most likely an area we need to focus on. Lower all the way down onto your mat, and we'll bring the arms right underneath your head like a little pillow so that we can work on the back of our core, our lower back. We take the right leg up, straight from the hip, and fan the toes out. So we have a version of locust pose. Then we go over to the other side, pick up your left leg, reaching out from the toes like somebody's holding onto your leg and pulling it back as you lift it up. Feeling the work down the back of your leg, in your glutes, in your lower back. Now, if it feels okay for you, you can take the double leg version of this, keeping the upper body really soft and relaxed, lifting both legs and creating length as you lift. If this feels too strenuous, just alternate one leg and then the other leg. And bring your palms back underneath your shoulders. We'll press ourselves up onto hands and knees and make our way back down into child's pose. Take a resting breath there. Let your arms soften. Giving the lower back a moment to stretch out. Now, if you have blocks, go ahead and grab the blocks and bring them onto either side of your mat. And for some of you, you might not need blocks for this, but if you feel like it's a little bit more challenging to do a step up from down dog to lunge, then blocks are going to be helpful for this one. We'll come into down dog, blocks on the sides of the mat. Do a little pedaling with the feet. Then, if you'd like, bring your hands onto the blocks. It's just going to create space. So we start with our step up with the left leg, and then we bring our left leg back. The left leg steps up, and then right leg steps up, right leg steps back. Just alternating feet. Left leg up, left leg back, right leg up, and right leg back. So this is a transition that tends to be a little on the trickier side, especially proportion-wise. If you have shorter arms and longer legs, it makes it difficult for you to get your leg up underneath your body easily. So blocks really help a lot with that. Now we're going to shift forward onto the right foot into a standing split, then drop the left leg down. So we lift it up, foot to the sky, left toes gently come back down to the earth. Just swaying forward, standing split, dropping the foot back into your high lunge. Bring your right leg back, come into down dog, and then we'll switch sides. Left leg at the top of the mat, right leg to the top of the mat. Just alternating again, working on those step ups. This is a great way to build connection to the lower belly and how those muscles in the lower belly help us with this step up transition. The slower you make that step up, the more focused your attention can be. Now we'll shift our weight to the left foot and swing the right leg up into standing split. Then as you exhale, ever so gently drop your toes back onto the mat for high lunge. The slower you make that transition, the more challenging it's going to be. You're trying to resist against gravity as you drop back. And make your way back into down dog. And we'll start to alternate right foot, left foot again. Step up, step back, and step up, step back. Drop your knees down. If you had your blocks there, you can move them out of the way. Lower into child's pose. And then come up into just a regular down dog. We're going to do what's called a walking split. You swing one leg up, take a small step forward. Swing the other leg up, another small step forward. Alternating that way until you find yourself right at the top of your mat in a forward bend. And that is the end of our part 1 for our practice for tapas. And I hope you can join me for part 2, where we're going to get a little bit more intense in the standing poses and the core work. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.